To recap the story so far, I got this old Winget 440E site dumper out of Everhard Industries in Brisbane, and after a bit of effort to get it going, it turned out to be the best wheelbarrow I'd ever owned. That led me to think that it might be worth getting a little bit more information out of Winget in the UK. The guys at Winget very kindly dug through their archive and found the records for my machine. It was built in '76, Bristol Road, Gloucester, and sent to Armstrong Siddeley in Sydney as a kit, and was built and sold into the Australian market. They sent me a manual that said don't sit on the machine while it's being loaded, and they sent me a brochure that shows a man that does. They also sent me this old brochure as well. Look at all those advantages. So Dumpy's been pressed into use, doing some landscaping and moving some stuff around, but note to self, don't get it bogged in the creek after a rainstorm because it's too muddy. So I called my mate for help, and he promptly showed up with a deck chair and beers and watched me try and remove Dumpy on my own. He did see the light though and helped me to pull Dumpy out with the old Prado, and he was duly rescued and put back to work. The mud bath though found another use with the children, who might have got a bit dirty. So with Dumpy proving himself useful, I decided I'd get the tin worm treated in the skip and have a new one made and get some new guards made and a few other bits of work done to the machine as well. So here's Dumpy at CPM Engineering in Gympie, and they took him in to build him a new skip, get rid of all the tin worm, which wasn't really a problem much. Made him a new skip, made him new guards, stripped him all down, and did a hell of a lot of work to restore Dumpy to his former glory. CPM got some steel sheets folded up, and they got welded together to make Dumpy's new skip. We did use some of the original structure on the skip because the hinge pinpoints and the main bearers were reasonably okay and didn't really need to be replaced, but there was rather a lot of welding to do so that the new skip could be made. We also had to make some new guards, or mud wings as Winget calls them. This was due to the fact that they were all bent out of shape. There's a rumour from the factory that this was caused when Dumpy spent a period of time incorrectly oriented, shall we say. But nevertheless, we needed some new mud wings, or guards if you're Australian, and here they are being welded up. In the meantime, the chassis got blasted and painted, and they did cover the engine up when they painted the chassis, and then promptly said to me once it had been painted, you do realise it's not going to look very good if the engine isn't painted. So when the covers came off, we had a look and thought, yeah, you're probably right, we probably should paint the engine. Moving along, the mud wings or guards got painted, the air filter housing, the rear engine cover, and all sorts of other parts, oil tanks, fuel tanks. They all got painted. Skip finally got welded up and painted, and all the parts then got laid out ready for Dumpy to be reassembled. So there's still a bit to do, but Dumpy's looking pretty good. It's almost fully assembled. I've got to put the seat back on. We've ordered parts from Winget out of the UK. They've been awesome, Winget in the UK. We've got bits coming, new old stock, original parts. But for these guys down here, it's going to be easier if they can move it around. So we're just going to try and put some fuel into it and see if we can get the damn thing running again. So 3 days ago, Winget dispatched these parts to me for Dumpy from Manchester in the UK, and they arrived on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland today. Only 3 days to get from Manchester to Buderim. Two guys at Winget have been immensely helpful with my project, and I'd just like to give a shout out to Steve Hodge and Howard Jackson, without whose help I would not have got as far as I have. So Winget have sent me all these genuine parts This is the oil filter from the oil tank feed to the oil pump. They sent me a bunch of original genuine Winget parts for some of the decals that Dumpy needs. I've got 3 master cylinder repair kits. I only need 1, so I've got a couple of spares. These are the friction linings from the handbrake, so I can repair the handbrake and make that work. You can't believe that these things are from the 70s and I've still got them in stock. How good is that? A couple of grease nipples, a washer I needed for the axle, 2 repair kits for the slave cylinders in the brake system, so we'll get that sorted out. Genuine stop cable, an air filter in this box here, and I've got a seat as well, a brand new seat, the right seat, well, almost the right seat. So yeah, genuine Winget parts from Bolton in Lancashire. Dumpy will be back soon. We'll get these fitted. So thanks to Tom Partleton at GD Geodrill in Illkley, Dumpy got a lift back from Gympie to the Sunshine Coast, and here he is getting dropped off. We did take some of the parts with us to Gympie and had them fitted prior to him coming back, but other parts needed to be refurbished once Dumpy was returned home. If you're wondering why Dumpy is red and not yellow, well, that's because the guys at Winget in the UK told me that when these machines were new, they were actually painted currant red, which is a British standard colour. The guys at CPM Engineering in Gympie had currant red mixed specially for Dumpy. The Winget guys also told me that the wheels should be gloss black, so the CPM guys duly painted the wheels gloss black. Dumpy is now pretty much as he would have left the factory, and he looks pretty good. Dumpy's brakes were never the best, so one of the first jobs was to refurbish the friction linings on the parking brake or the handbrake. So we scraped those off, riveted on the fresh linings and refurbished the handbrake system, and it bites like an angry pit bull now. It doesn't roll away anymore. We also used the seal kits that we got for the slave cylinders and the master cylinder and refurbished those. While they don't look absolutely perfect, at least hydraulically they pretty much are. Dumpy got himself an oil change with a genuine Lister oil filter, and we replaced the hydraulic oil inlet filter. Although we did find a few things hiding in the tank and suspect that this may have been there for many years. We replaced the hydraulic oil and filter. We pretty much finished off all the other little tasks, got new fluids in the gearbox, transfer case, front and rear axles, and we've sorted out the exhaust system, we've got fresh fuel in it, and Dumpy is pretty much ready to go back into service now. You can see the armrest there isn't yet complete, and there's a couple of other little things to do, but generally Dumpy is pretty much ready to go now, and he works like a charm. You can also see here that we've managed to get some of the stickers back onto the machine as well. The seat that we've put on is a cab P2. Originally they were fitted with a cab P1 apparently, but those seats are no longer available, and this is the closest in style, size, shape to the original, so that's what we've managed to use. The exhaust system isn't quite right either. We've had to put a little stack in because the old exhaust system was blowing the hot gas and the soot straight onto the fuel tank and boiling the fuel up, which wasn't really ideal. We've also got a nice new tilt lever instead of the all-thread bar, and of course as well we had to fit the old pull to stop genuine Winget part. So Dumpy's been pressed back into service, and here's my neighbour moving some soil around to do some backfill work. still a couple of things to do. I think the pressure release valve needs to be reset, and I need to get the hydraulic cylinders refurbished as well. But generally everything's running fine, and Dumpy, I reckon, is going to last for at least as long again as it's lasted already.